If you're learning English, this tool is more useful than ChatGPT. I'll show you why. ChatGPT isn't brilliant for learning English writing. Part of my job as an English professor in a university is I have to check people's English writing and correct what they've written. Who cares? Well, I'll tell you a little bit later. You can get help with your English writing using ChatGPT. So what's the problem? Well, ChatGPT causes a few problems for my students. First, it sometimes overcorrects. This means it changes sentences which are mostly fine and completely changes them. The problem with this is it can cause confusion. Some sentences can be fixed with just a small change, like one word. The second problem is context. In other words, guessing what someone means. Sometimes it corrects the writing, but it ignores the point the student is trying to make. The third problem, it's very inconsistent. You can ask it the same question twice and get completely different answers. This is very confusing if you're learning English. Look at this question. Correct this English. I pour eye drop when it comes to say about my son. The student actually means I cry. ChatGPT says I become emotional. It's kind of right. But I asked the same question a second time and it says I use eye drops. The first problem is it misses the point. The second problem is the answer is completely different to the first answer. The fourth problem my students have is it can be hard to know what to write about. You can ask ChatGPT for some help, but then you can just get really lost in this long conversation with so much stuff in difficult English. The final problem is for storing your corrected writing. We quickly lose things we've written on ChatGPT unless we save them somewhere else, and then we've got to remember where we put them. I've been correcting people's English writing for about 8 years now. I've noticed the mistakes people make again and again. I can help some people with their English writing, but I'm only one person and I don't have enough time to help thousands of people. However, I have thousands of pieces of data about English writing. In this column, you can see original English writing, and in this column, you can see the corrected version where I changed it. We saw earlier, I pour eye drop when it comes to say about my son. I cry or I cry a lot when it comes to talking about my son. So I decided to make an AI tool which can correct people's English writing. I took my writing data and I fine-tuned one of OpenAI's large language models. I could make kind of a new version of ChatGPT specifically for English writing learning. It solves all the problems which I mentioned before. I built a web app that uses it. Let's check it out. Please write anything in English. If you can't think of what to write, how about answering a question? So we can have a look here. There are a lot of different questions. You don't have to use a question, it's up to you. Do you like flying on airplanes? Why or why not? I don't like flying on airplanes because I don't know. I can't think of what to write. But look at this button. Inspire me. Here are some ideas to help you complete your writing. We have some sentences, some vocabulary, and some more writing ideas. Sometimes the plane shakes and it makes me nervous. Okay, let's write a load more. So the next thing we will do is we will click send. And here we go. You can see the original question. Here is the original text. This is what I wrote. Here are the corrections. It's very easy to see the changes. Also, here is the final corrected text with no red and no blue. It doesn't overcorrect. This makes it much easier because if it completely rewrites every sentence, the student will be confused and probably want to give up. Another thing is this will be very consistent. It will give you the same or very similar answers every time, even if you use the same writing. And at the bottom here, maybe you want to leave some notes. We can check everything we wrote before. Click on View All Entries. Here is the one we just did about do you like flying on airplanes? Everything I wrote and also my notes. This is very, very convenient because I can check everything I have written before. It will always be stored there. It will never be lost. You can click on this star. That will make it a favorite. And then you can click Show Favorites. When you're ready, you can click on Write a New Entry and you can start again. If you are learning English writing and you would like to try out this tool, absolutely free, you can register on this form. Thanks for watching.